Okay, let's dive right into this. If you're preparing for the CAT exam or honestly any high-stakes MBA entrance test, you already know that intense, stomach-dropping anxiety that comes with a complex DILR seating arrangement set. You're staring at the screen, the clock is just relentlessly ticking, and you've got, say, 8 people sitting around a square table, all facing different directions, and somehow they're all wearing different colored shirts. It's completely overwhelming, but today we're going to fix that. In this explainer, we're distilling some absolutely brilliant insights from Vikram Sharma's highly rated 1-hour and 12-minute masterclass called Mastering the Geometry of Logic. We're going to decode the exact strategies that 99th percentile scorers use to turn these absolute nightmare puzzles into predictable, solvable systems.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the seating arrangement trap. Second, mapping logical geometry. Third, finding your anchor clue. Fourth, advanced elimination frameworks. And finally, we'll wrap up with the 99th percentile mindset.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the seating arrangement trap, and why DILR just breaks test takers.
So, why do these specific seating puzzles destroy otherwise stellar CAT scores? Well, it really boils down to multivariable overload combined with extreme time pressure. When you're reading a prompt that links a seating position to a specific floor of a building and maybe a specific job title on top of that, your working memory just kind of runs out of space. You get bogged down trying to hold all these moving parts in your head, the clock is ruthlessly ticking away, the panic sets in, and suddenly you realize you spent 12 minutes on a single set without definitively placing even one variable.
And this comparison brilliantly illustrates exactly where things go wrong and how we fix it. Look at the average approach on the left. The average test taker relies heavily on random permutations. They use this brute force guessing method, right? Plugging in a variable just to see if it works, hitting a wall, erasing it all, and panicking. Now look at the topper approach on the right. 99th percentile candidates don't just try harder, they operate on a completely different system. They rely on strategic SMART diagrams, they hunt for anchor clues, and they apply advanced elimination frameworks. Basically, they don't guess, they logically deduce.
Moving on to Section 2, Mapping Logical Geometry. This is the true foundation of logic puzzles.
You know, solving these puzzles is exactly like building a house. You literally cannot start putting up the walls until you completely understand the architectural blueprints. Vikram Sharma breaks down all seating puzzles into 3 foundational geometries. Think of these as level 1 through level 3. First up, you have linear arrangements, so people in rows. Then circular arrangements, people sitting around a table. And finally, the advanced models, your squares, rectangles, or even multidimensional grids. Every single DLR seating puzzle, no matter how terrifying it looks at first glance, is built right on top of one of these base geometries. Let's look at how this plays out under actual exam conditions. Because let's be real, the exam makers aren't just going to hand you the base geometry, they're going to add boss-level complications. A simple linear puzzle becomes an absolute nightmare when it's a double-row facing problem where you have no idea who is facing north or south. A basic circular puzzle gets incredibly tricky when it features a mixed inward and outward facing setup, which forces you to constantly flip your left and right mental orientation. And those advanced models? Oh, they'll throw in variable linked floor and room combinations onto a square table just for fun. Understanding which specific complication is layered over which base geometry is absolutely step 1 to conquering the set.
Which brings us to Section 3, Finding Your Anchor Clue. This is the secret to starting off right.
So, what's the crucial takeaway here? It's defining the anchor clue, sometimes called the starter clue. I'd argue this is the most vital concept in the entire masterclass. An anchor clue is that one definitive piece of information that solidly fixes a variable on your geometry. It is the absolute foundation for your SMART diagram. If you try to start drawing your diagram based on a weak, ambiguous clue, well, actually, scratch that. If you even attempt to start with something like A sits somewhere to the left of B, you instantly create this massive web of confusing possibilities. But if you scan the prompt and find the anchor, something like C sits exactly at the right corner of the north-facing row, boom, you've laid a concrete foundation. You start right there and build outward.
Next up is Section 4, Advanced Elimination Frameworks. This is all about systematizing the solve.
Top scorers don't wing it. They use a highly structured sequential solving system. Step 1, identify that anchor clue to start the diagram. Step 2, map the constraints around it. These are your negative clues, like who absolutely cannot sit next to whom. Step 3, apply elimination logic. See, you don't ask, where could this person go? Instead, you ask, based on my constraints, where is the only place this person is legally allowed to sit? And finally, step 4, handle contradictions gracefully. If a path leads to a logical dead end, do not panic. A contradiction is actually great news. It efficiently eliminates a bad path systematically, which just confirms the correct path.
To pull those steps off smoothly, you need what Sharma calls the advanced logic arsenal. This is how you untangle those super high difficulty sets. First, possibility reduction systems, literally crossing out invalid branches on your scratch pad so you don't look at them twice. Next, you have to recognize hidden logical patterns that tend to repeat across previous year exams. You've also got to dodge contradiction traps, where the prompt deliberately baits you into making false assumptions. And critically, managing directional confusion. Drawing little arrows for left and right next to every single variable ensures that conditional dependencies don't trip you up when the pressure is really on.
Now, what's really interesting about this number is the sheer return on investment this method provides, 3x. By abandoning that old brute force guessing method and systematically applying smart diagrams, anchor clues, and elimination frameworks, students in this masterclass report solving high-level seating arrangements up to 3 times faster. In an exam where literally seconds dictate your percentiles, operating 3 times faster is the difference between barely surviving the DILR section and absolutely dominating it.
Finally, Section 5, the 99th percentile mindset, and how to sustain that top-tier performance.
Because ultimately, the goal of this masterclass isn't just to teach you a quick trick, right? It's to build genuine exam mastery. You need to build cognitive stamina for those long, exhausting puzzle sets. You need to maximize your accuracy, specifically when that timer is flashing red. You have to optimize your time management, meaning you know instantly if a puzzle is a do now or a skip for later based on its geometry and complications. Mastering these techniques empowers you to confidently approach real, cat-level practice walkthroughs without that familiar sense of dread.
I absolutely love this quote. This is the literal XP toast message from the source material, and it perfectly captures the feeling you get when this system finally clicks. DILR puzzle mastery unlocked. Your logical reasoning power is evolving. It really does feel like leveling up in a video game. Once you see the matrix of how these puzzles are constructed, you just can't unsee it. You stop fearing the variables, and you start hunting for the logic.
So that leaves us with just one question. Are you ready to sit down, map out your geometry, and hunt for your next anchor clue? Or are you going to let the DILR trap catch you with brute force guessing one more time? Take this exact systematic framework, apply it to your very next practice session, and just watch how quickly the chaos turns into clarity. Good luck with your prep and keep mastering the logic.